and just the admiration that the singer has for this beautiful word.
That's the Rotary meeting today.
And this song describes saying goodbye to a loved one and being both sad about it, but also just kind of happy that that relationship existed.
The inspiration of what I thought I would sing comes from the fact that Herb Alpert came into the world on the 4th of July. And the musical 1776 speaks about trying to establish the Declaration of Independence. So I thought it was kind of fit. This begins with John Adams railing against the Continental Congress for inactivity. At the end of the song, he has imaginary conversations, as it were, in a show with his wife through letters. Abigail Adams, I think, was an incredible woman at the time of the Revolutionary time. So that's about it. I've come to the conclusion that one useless man is called a disgrace, that two are called a law firm, that three or more become a Congress, and by God, I have had this Congress. For 10 years, St. George and his parliament have gold-cullied and diddled these colonies with their illegal taxes. Stamp Acts, Townsend Acts, Sugar Acts, Tea Acts. And when we dared stand up like men, they stopped our trade, seized our ships, blockaded our ports, burned our towns, and spilled our blood. And still, this Congress refuses to grant any of my proposals on independence, even so much as the courtesy of open debate. Good God, what the hell are they waiting for? Good God, I do believe you named the curse of North America. A curse that we hear now reverse in Philadelphia. A second flood, a simple famine, plagues of locusts everywhere. Or a cataclysmic earthquake, I'd accept with some despair. But no, you sent us Congress. Good God, sir, was that fair? I say this with humility in Philadelphia, where your responsibility in Philadelphia. If you don't want to see us hanging from some far British hill, if you don't want the voice of independence to be forever still, then God, sir, get thee to it, for Congress never will. We piddle, twiddle, and resolve, not a damn thing to be solved. Piddle, twiddle, and resolve. Nothing's ever solved in foul, fetid, fuming, brawly, filthy Philadelphia. They may sit here for years and years in Philadelphia. These indecisive grenadiers of Philadelphia. They can't agree Congress ever had was to gather here specifically to drive John Adams mad. You see, we piddle, twiddle, and resolve, nothing's ever solved. Piddle, twiddle, and resolve, nothing's ever solved. And foul, fetid, fuming, foggy, filthy, Philadelphia. Oh, Abigail, I have such a desire to knock heads together.
Oh, I know, my dearest darling. But that's because you make everything so complicated. It's all quite simple, really. Just tell the Congress to declare independency. Next time you make it out of there and hurry home to me. Our children all have dysentery. There's a top piece turning blue. Little Abby has the measles and we're coming down with the flu. They say we may get smallpox.
Madam, what else is new? Abigail, in my last letter, I asked you to organize ladies to make saltpeter for gunpowder. Have you done as I asked?
No, John, I have not.
Well, why have you not?
Because you neglected to tell us how saltpeter is made.
By combining sodium nitrate with potassium chloride, of course.
Of course.
Well, will it be done then?
No, I'm afraid we have a more urgent problem.
More urgent?
There's one thing everyone's missing. Massachusetts Bay. Don't smirk at me, you protest. Take heed to what I say. We've got one friend come to Boston, and we cannot find a pin. Don't you know that there's a war on San Tradesman? Well, we will not make saltpeter until you send us hints.
Saltpeter!
Hints.
Saltpeter!
Hints.
Saltpeter!
Hints.
Saltpeter! Peter! Peter! Peter!
Hints.
Done, madam.
Done, John. Hurry home, John.
Oh, as soon as I'm able.
Don't stop writing. It's all I have.
Every day, my dearest friend.
Till then,
Till then, I am as I ever was, and never shall be. Yours, 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 Saltpeter John. Now, if you look carefully on this, you will see that you're required to take part as well. We're going to sing a little bit patriotic, America the Beautiful, and we'd ask you, if you can see, to sing with us on the last verse. It tells you all what's going on. Ed is going to serenade us with the first.
Courtesy, Ed.
You hear that yet?
Oh, beautiful force made skies forever sweet love reign. On purple mountains majesty, all of the rooted plains.
And bright as this bright And from from you to shine to you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Diego, thank you so much for staying here. John, thank you for staying here. Diego, and Wendy, thank you all. And Ed, first of all, thank you for making this happen. Wendy, thank you again for coming and bringing one of our very best programs of the year. I have a small gift I'd like to give you for that. Thank you. And we look forward to next year, right? I'd like to give you a small gift as well. Thank you very much. 1776 is a great play. I love that play.
I did it 50 years ago.
Oh, no kidding. Nice. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Diego, I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of you in years to go. You were awesome. Thank you all. Thank you, Diego, very much. We have a few minutes. Yes. Oh, Ed, come on up. Ed.
Steve, what a way to go out.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, that's a little too much. That's okay. But maybe a few questions. I think Phil Gabriel has a question. Is it possible? Maybe we got about a few more minutes.
Diego, when did you realize you had such a gift for that genre? A lot of people go to pop or something.
Yeah.
You chose something a little bit different. When did you realize you had that talent?
I've sang in choir for like most of my life and in church with Wendy. And yeah, she's really encouraged me to delve into like the classical realm and like classical voice technique.
During your younger years, you explored music theater.
Yeah, I did a lot of
some
music theater.
productions with kids theater.
Yeah.
And at UCLA, not only was he doing the big classical opera program at UCLA, can you tell me more about what your side project was?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sing with Bruin Harmony, which is UCLA's premier all-male a cappella group, and that's some more pop stuff, some more like rock jazz kind of favorites. So I do some of that as well. Yeah.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Ed?
I had a question for Don. Don, you spent many, many years at Caltech. Now, Caltech is very scientific. He's rocket scientist. How musical were the students at Caltech?
Pretty amazingly, they were.
They were.
Especially in different categories. We had a number of Asian students that played string instruments in young age. They were exceptions. We did the Brahms violin concerto, we did Mozart violin concerto, things like that. It's fun. I had an experience, my first year at Caltech was 1982, and my job originally was to work with the men's glee club. Well, unlike my colleagues who came to know throughout the country to work with men's glee clubs, most of them had a fairly rigorous audition procedure and things like that. For me at Caltech, it was a pulse. They could walk through the door. They were so smart, we were going to learn. I had a young man walk through the door. He was 17. His uncle was a famous pro football player for the Rams, Merlin Olsen. Wow. Well, what I had them do was to sing something like this, just to hear what they sounded like. And I went home that afternoon, and told my wife, I just heard a professional voice at 17. This young man, eventually, he was of Mormon faith, and he went to Guatemala for a year and a half, and came back to UCLA, or came back to Caltech, and incredibly developed vocally, but also in his whole life. And eventually, he finished Caltech, and then went on to UCLA to start a PhD program in math, but decided he really wanted to sing. Long story short, this young man has sung on the Met stage 3 times.
Wow.
So he's now, needless to say, if you're a Caltech graduate, you got a great day job. So he now works in stuff now, but anyway, those are good to answer your questions. We had people like that we never expect that had wonderful talents.
And projects we came in, never saw before.
Right. No, and that's true as well. We had a few that came in. I had one unusual graduate student who was from India. He never knew what a violin was. It's hard to imagine. Theoretical physicist, graduate student would never know. He'd never heard one. And he came from India, came to Caltech. And he had an amazingly interesting voice because music from that part of the world uses a scale in a slightly different fashion than we do in the Western tradition. If you think of the notes on the piano, they're all equal distance apart. Well, there they have in between microtones, things between quarter notes. And he had a very kind of thin voice, but he could distinguish between those. None of us really could. Artists don't know how to do that. But anyway, that was part of the extreme of that. But he came on and enjoyed singing. Anyway, that's...
Don, one other thing, very quickly. What do you remember about John Wooden and playing under him?
Well, I was on the freshman team at that time. This was in 1961, and Wooden, John Wooden, of course, was the coach of the varsity, but obviously he had very strong interest in the development of the team. Those of you perhaps who know some history was that year, Gail Goodrich came to UCLA. We also had another young man. Gail Goodrich was the all-city player of the year. And Philly Goss, he was the all-CIF player of the year. So the team had some really good potential. Myself, I was a walk-on. I had a fraternity brother who was actually one of the recruiting players for UCLA. Believe it or not, I was 5'6" in the 11th grade. And I grew about 7 inches in a year and a half. And an older brother who was that height when he was in the 8th grade. And I was the younger brother that tries to, emulate the older brother, but not very well. But anyway, I had an ability to jump. I could dunk a volleyball. But you might as well put a solid lid on the basket. I had no disabilities. But I got in the game because I could run around and bother people. That's kind of a joke, but that's really what I did. Goodrich called me Dunker Dog. And I would run around and it was wonderful. I got a chance to know Coach Wooden through that, but I had an unusual experience on top of that. I don't need to tell you this. I think it's a story for UCLA. My second semester, total fluke of things. I became sports editor of UCLA Wendy Group. And that was the year, 1962, that UCLA had its first really good basketball team and went to the Final Four. Prior to this time, we didn't have nothing of this caliber. There was a young man named Walt Hazard. He was a fellow that came from Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. and had this skill to be able to pass to people like this, and get really the offense going. And that team went to the Final Four. As sports editor, I get to go along and write about it. I also got to sit on the sidelines with the man who's broadcasting the game. But the fun thing for me, we had to go to Provo, Utah for the playoff, which is one of these things. We flew to Las Vegas. Mind you, I was just turned 18. I never flown in an airplane until I went with UCLA to Las Vegas. Then 2 weeks later, we went to Louisville, Kentucky. UCLA played, they played against Wake Forest, Ohio State, and Cincinnati. They lost 2 games by 3 points. They were 81 to 80, 82 to 80, 82 to 80. They were in these games and just didn't quite put it together. But anyway, they were there. And that was an incredible experience. And of course, I got to observe what was going on with the team. And of course, knowing Coach Wooden, could relate. He was an amazing organizer.
One more question, Ben.
Just wondering, what was his best quote?
His best quote, I don't know. His famous one was, "Gracious sakes alive." He and this is, poor unfortunate poor just passed away. Poor Walt made a quote that he was the best trash talker he'd ever heard. So on the sidelines, he was always railing against the refs and the calls and the coaches. But he was very principled. We had one funny story that some of you, those of you who remember that team, was one unusual player on that team, who was an English major, which is what Wooden was. That's kind of unusual. His name was Pete Blackman. He was 6'7", good. Pete Blackman went on to UCLA and academically became, vice president of the year. But he had a great knack for writing. And of course, there was always the give and take of UCLA and USC in the games. And Pete decided, and as I was sports editor, I had a little pull on this, he decided he was going to write a parody using the Chaucerian style to write about the UCLA game with USC and to say, kind of spicy things about the referees and things like that. So I published it in the newspaper, the whole thing called he called him Spider, Sir Spider's Tale. Well, after that was happened, just to get an insight in another way, John Wooden called Peter and myself in his office and just laid out the law. How could you possibly write something like that? He was completely mad at us for ever saying anything nasty about USC or the referees or anything like that. To us, we were just trying to keep from laughing, but he was really mad. So that's a sign that you're probably mad. He's a very principled guy. Amazing.
Wendy, Don, and Diego. It's an awesome program, and a great way for me to go out as an Rotary president. Thank you again. Okay, everyone, here we go.
Is this the last one?
Yeah, well, this is, first of all, most importantly, our next meeting is July 11th. We're dark next week, and we're dark July 4th. And our next meeting will be on July 11th, presided by Ben. Congratulations, Ben. He will be formally inducted as our president this Saturday night. And it will be at Westwood Transitional Village for the next 2 meetings. Thank you, Diane. It'll be catered by Rose Bay. So our meetings on July 11th and July 18th will be at Westwood Transitional Village. And our meeting on 25th of July will be back here at Hillel at UCLA. Quote from Beach Boy Brian Wilson. You notice when we first started, his birthday is today. He was born June 20th, 1942. And he composed a lot of beautiful music as a Beach Boy. But what he said was, and again, remember, we're now in summer, 1:18 this afternoon. Summer means happy times and good sunshine. It means going to the beach, going to Disneyland, and having a lot of fun. And I've had a lot of fun, you guys. I really thank you for this opportunity to be your president this last year, and I have some great memories, and thank you again. And we are adjourned.
Okay.